Hello, Mackie here, and welcome back to Mid-Season Madness. This entire coverage of the Mid-Season Madness is presented to you by me and me alone. Now then, as you can see from this beautiful, beautiful list, we have our 10 teams that are ranked based on their performances at the regionals and based on some perception, community, and otherwise of the league. Or you could just say that this is my list and I'm picking the 10 best teams to win MSI. I could just say that. If you like this video, please like and subscribe and share it with your friends so that I can do some more coverage on not only League of Legends, but for MSI as well, because this is a really big event that I'm going to continue and look forward to. Where was I? Oh, yeah, the MSI League list. Top 10 teams for me to pick to win MSI. I'm jumbling my words a little bit. These are my 10 teams that I think that win MSI. 10 to 1, pretty much simple. No problems with that. Now, you're thinking to yourself, I can just pick a team and then talk about it and put a list in that order. And you're right, I would. However, I'm going to do something a little bit unique. We and you and I going to spin the wheel. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Wheel of Legends. Here you are. This is a beautiful, beautiful wheel that is being handpicked by myself. These are all the logos representing all the 10 teams that are in MSI. And once the wheel has been spinned, whatever it shows, I will be talking about it. I will be previewing about it. And then I will see where I'm going to rank these teams. And at the end, I'll probably going to post it on Reddit. And then every league community will have to harass me. So without further ado, let's get the wheel going. And which one will it be? Oh my goodness gracious. You've got to be Oh my goodness, you've got to be I I swear to God. I swear to God. This has to be a conspiracy. The wheel is conspiracy against me. But the wheel chose to fade and it chose T1. So let me just talk about T1. Now, here is my 2 cents about T1. And this is the 2019 MSI. I'm just going to go to 2025. Now, here is my 2 cents with T1. Half the whole Gumayushi Smash drama never took place. I would say that T1 is a pretty decent team. Even without the whole drama. I feel like Honor Life Esports and Genji are kind of like the better two teams ever. Unfortunately, and credit to T1 in more ways than one, Duran played incredible. He was playing brilliantly. T1 qualified from, the road to MSI, which is a pretty flawed format. Of course, we already have to talk about it, but they caught Hun Life on a really, really bad day after got collapsed by Genji. So, let me just look at the chart. This is probably going to be a little bit of what's going to happen for the next video. You got Doran, Owner, Faker, Gumayushi, Carrier, and Koma, the coach. Now, I think this team is pretty much okay. And no, Akeem, this is not going to be like your MSI favorites. I think we all know who's going to be my two MSI favorites. You all know one of them. I think this might be a third best team. Maybe a top 4 team, of course, when all the cards are right. Because the problem is with this team, and by the way, shout out to Secondary Poro, who's done his previews about every single team. We haven't even reached the T1 yet, and he's going to probably use the T1 right now. The problem with T1 is that they're fine. They're a fine team. But Duran International events have not been going well. Owner is decent. Faker has not been the same player, although he can put up a clutch moment once in a while. Carrier is probably the only bright spot in this team. And let's be honest, bot lane has not been kind in this meta for the international teams. Carrier has been like the only bright spot of this team. I think you could say that Carrier is probably the only thing that happens great on T1 with Owner. So I think this is a pretty decent team. It's a fine team. And I'm not sure they can win MSI. But consider this is T1. I think you can say that they can win MSI and nobody will be bothered. And then a lot of fans will just say that T1 are good after all, which I hate so much. So I don't have like much reading. Maybe, of course, by the time this video is over, I can get a secondary Poro preview about it. But I think T1 is like they're fine. It's a fine team. The whole Gumayuchi Smash situation just really destroys. It's not saying that T1 are like a bad team. It's just that the whole thing kind of like perceived them as like a pretty horrible team. I think Nacho and Red Force were better than them. KT Rosser was kind of better than them, and they beat both of them. And then they called like Holland Life Esports on a really bad day, like 3-0 them. Like nobody was expecting them to even do much. So to believe T1 can win MSI, I don't think so. But I think this is a pretty mid-tier team. I'm gonna put them as fifth place. So we're gonna change the rankings one or two times after the end of this to see where I go. But I think T1 are my fifth best team. So I think that's pretty much it. Okay, let's go to the second team. And it is it's Koi. Look at that. So Koi lineup is the lineup of Merwin, Elioya, Jojo Pin, Super, Alvaro, and Melza. Now, okay. I did watch the preview about it. I think Merwin is probably the weak link of this team. I think the way they try to play around Merwin is going to be a problem for Koi, especially like your top engages and your top support and top engages, your bruises and all kinds of stuff. It's like Merwin trying to play one way and the man lines are trying to play another way. And I don't think these two are kind of unconnected. So I think that could be a little bit of a problem. But the rest of the team are so fantastic. Elioya, probably the reason why Koi are like the LEC champions. Jojo Pian is not great. He's not the reason why they win. But man, the guy's slapping Cassidian in game 4 of that series. To have the balls on the table to pull that off was impressive enough as well. Super is a fantastic AD carry. So did Alvaro with an amazing play. I think my favorite play from the LEC finals was the four man Aurora. No, I don't think Aurora. Let me just pause a little bit and just let me think. Rel Art. Rel Alt. Thank you. My brain had just come back. 4-man Rel Alt against G2 when G2 kind of like being too aggressive, of course. So I think I look at this Koi team and I say this is a Koi team is a really fine team. I believe I can't believe I'm saying this, but they're kind of like the second best team in the West beside FlyQuest, which is jarring to me to say that considering how good G2 were in LEC a year ago. It's jarring to think, but here we are right now saying that probably Koi are going in as the best Western team, the second best Western team of all teams in MSI. As for where they rank, I don't think they can be as a top team as your Gen Gs and anyone's legends in the world. I don't think they're that. I don't think they even do well against BLG. Even a fraudulent bad BLG team are better than Koi. Which, if the draws worked, I think they might face them. But consider how the draw works, I don't think they face them. But regardless, I believe that Koi are a pretty decent team. Elioya can play so many good champions. Super can play the dominant champions. Your Kaisers, your Tristanas, of course. Alvaro is a pretty decent engaged champions in sometimes. Jojo Pin is okay. Jojo Pin is pretty much okay. I think the only problem is Merwin, and also the fact that I believe this is Ayoya Jojo Pin's first, this is Ayoya Jojo Pin's second MSI tournament, if you want to call that. Jojo Pin, by the way, last time it was the Evil Geniuses, Ayoya from the old Man Lions games. For Merwin, Super, and Alvaro, this is their first time ever. This is their first real big international tournament ever. And I want to see if they have the mental to go through it. Because what happens if, they got crushed in the first game? How will they handle themselves? How will the mental handle themselves? They have the veterancy, and, Eloy has been there before. But consider that not only all of the West are watching you, but all of Spain are watching you. The pressure is so much on you guys to do work. So I want to see what Koi is made of. I think the top lane is still a problem I just mentioned, but I believe that if Aloya and Jojo Pin can click, if Super can have that incredible performance, maybe I might see them as a top 4 team. But I believe for now, I put them as, let's just go my seventh best team. For now, let's just go my seventh best team. So far we got two locked in, T1 and Koi. Not official, but these are my two top teams. Now we go again. Oh my god. All right, Furia. Okay, let's spin the wheel. All right. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. There are some bright spots to this team. There are some decent bright spots to this team. Okay, it's listen. I do not think that Fury can win a single game in the playing stage. If they do that, it'll be the absolute greatest thing that ever happened to this team ever. I think you know many people wanted to call out the LTA format to like sending like one team per region to go through. That's pretty much my that's pretty much the gripe of everybody else. That's probably the reason why we have 10 teams instead of 12. And the fact that Furia beat Pain, which every single person have them as favorites, going into the finals, that's even stunning even for me. The fact that Furia won this match and won their way to MSI with an absolute Giga Chad, and I mean absolute Giga Chad. If you want to know what Giga Chad teams look like, you gotta go way deep. You gotta go way deep. Let's see. Oh yeah, this is game three. Oh, by the way, this is look at game three's draft. Just look at game three's draft for the finals against Pain. They were up 2-0 against Pain. Now you're thinking to yourself, okay, Pain might come back and reverse swept. This is what game three draft looked like. This is what absolute Giga Chat. I'm just gonna hold for a minute. Let me just see. Yeah, okay, there you go. This is what game three Giga Chat looked like. Look at this. Look at this. It's Aatrox, Sejuani, Akali, Yasuo in the bot lane. I mean, listen, like the last time I see Yasuo in bot lane, Perks was playing it against T1. That was like 6 years ago. And then Rakan in the support. And won! In 28 minutes! Like what? 28 minutes they've won over Pain against that comp. That is amazing. And that is incredible. That is incredible for that to happen and to do that and to sweep Pain, to sweep the best dominant team ever after losing like this. Like, that is amazing. That is fortitude beyond belief. Sadly, they're not going to win a single game on the MSI, but more power to you. Now let's look at the lineups. Guyo, who by the way the MVP, Tattoo, Tutsi, Jojo is a support. But there's one player, I think Secondary Poro actually mentioned about it. He actually posted a video. I know I'm glazing him mostly, but he liked this player. I like his videos. Please subscribe to him if you want and give some channel some love. But IU has been like a pretty decent player. He's been probably one of the best players in all of Brazil. He's gonna be like in the Tian conversation and one of the best, Brazilian ADCs of all time. He's right up there. He's not there yet, but he's slowly climbing that ranks with some incredible performances and all that stuff. Gaiju is one of those more veteran teams, of course. Some of the players are kind of like newish, of course. Some of them are like, some of them were playing for the Red Cannons team that made it to Worlds and MSI years ago. I think Goju and Jojo were there. Tutsi, I think Tuts is also there as well. So there's like veteran teammates, but in terms of like, 5-man group, are they good enough to win? I don't think Fury have any chance. The only redeeming grace is Thinkard. Now, for anybody who don't know Thinkard was the coach of NRG when they beat G2 back in 2023. Yep, 2023, when they beat G2 to advance through to the bracket stage. And that was NRG. That was a pretty not so good NRG at that time. And spoiler alert, they're facing G2 again. Who knew? So I think Thinkard may do something, but I don't think they have anything. I don't think they have a chance. That's why I put them immediately at 10th place. And listen, if they manage to win a game, that would be an achievement. If they manage to win a series, that would be the upset of the year. That would be the upset of all the tournament. But I just don't see Fury doing anything much other than like 10th place. So, yeah, nothing much to say. Continue with the wheel. Good morning, Vietnam! It is Gami Sports, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, Levi and the boys are back here again. Actually, it's more like Levi and the rest of the boys. But unfortunately, Levi is kind of like old. And I'm not saying old as in age, but old as in gaming experience and probably hands. So he's not the same dude. Kaya, Emo, Artemis, Elio, those are pretty good team. Those are pretty good players. Kaya's been a decent mid lane. Kaya's been a pretty much decent top laner. Emo's been all right. Artemis is a pretty decent good, of course, in the standards of LCP, a pretty good bot laner. Elio's kind of like a weak spot in this team. He's probably the only weak spot of this entire squad roster. So my LCP knowledge is not as great. But if you know Gam and if you know this team really well, they are the kings of pulling out unexpected wins. They are the kings to do so. Now they're facing up against BLG in the play-ins. Now many people think that BLG are kind of like, okay, they're favorites to win. But consider how BLG are right now, and consider how Gam is doing right now. Maybe, and just maybe in your back of your mind, they might pull the upset. They might pull the upset against them. So yeah, um, that's gonna be my 2 cents. I I think maybe I should go more in depth with this team. I don't know, but I think we should go more in depth. I think we should kind of go a little more in depth about this team just to give you some context. So I believe that Gami Sports have been like the third best team in their own region. It's everybody thinking that it's Talon and maybe CTBC Flying Oyster win it. The fact that Gam were in there it's an impressive performance. It's an impressive performance by them. Now they lost to CTBC Flying Oyster. It's a big game, and if they would have won, they could have been in the bracket as well. But I digress. I think they have done pretty decently well to make it there. Again, my LCP knowledge is not as great, so bear with me here. I'm just saying that Gam is pretty decent enough to pull some upsets and all that kind of stuff. And I want to know what the champion pool will be like. Oh God, oh Jesus, my lack of league knowledge beyond narratives is just so poor. I'm just gonna say this. Let's just let's just let's just go. Let me just say this. If Kaya can play some decent champions, if Kaya can play some top lane heavy champions, your fighting champions, and all kinds of stuff, and Artemis can pop off. Now, Easy Love was supposed to be the player, and then of course Artemis subs in. Emo, of course, it's up to do with the rest, so it's kind of like a 7-man squad. So we don't know who's the ball lane, we don't know who's the mid lane, and that could have a problem, of course. Levi is a leader of this team, and I just don't know anything about that. I may have a feeling that I think Gam could be like a 7th place team, of course. Maybe they'll be like below the rest of the teams. So maybe I'll put them in 9th. Again, my knowledge is not as great, but I think I see the players, they're veterancy, and I see like Kaya, Levi, and Artemis. There are some newish players that are good, but they're not as great. I don't know if they're like good enough to like challenge the rest of them. If they beat PLG, that would be a shocker even for me. All right, give me a team that I can at least have some decent knowledge, just some decent knowledge. Okay, and it was like this is easy. This is easy. Your brain must be thinking to yourself, Akeem. Wait a minute. And it was legend go to MSI with Flandre? And Tarzan and Shanks and Hope and KL, who's been a decent support. How did this team manage to make it through LPL and win the whole thing? Who's coaching this team? Oh, it's Tabe. Okay, cool. All right, never mind. Never mind. Yeah, for anybody who don't know, Tabe is the greatest coach in LCPL history, and I just have to say that, bar none, up and down, no doubt about it. We all know how great he was as a player. Well, decently good as a player, but the coaching, whew, that's another saucy ingredient he puts in. Look what he has done to so many good teams. He has made RNG from a bottom tier team, well, not bottom tier, more like a not so great team, to like top of the world, winners, MSI, all that kind of stuff. Same thing with BLG, winners, bottom, not so good BLG team, make it through, win second place in MSI, top 4 in Worlds, pretty good. And now here he is coaching, part-time coaching, anyone's legends. And now here he is becoming world champions and beating BLG, his former team, to do it. And that is impressive. His coaching style is just like making players look good, put some champions in, let them cook. This guy is your genius. Now for the team himself, Tarzan deserves so much praise. So many times he had never won anything. He's finally won the whole Kid Cabellum. And I think he's probably the only reason why he's won. Shanks has been a decent mid laner. Hope has been like a pretty good bot laner for so many iffy teams. And now here he is winning it. Flandre has not looking like this since 2021, EDG winning the World State Tournament. So on paper, Tabe has turned this ordinary team into extraordinary players. And the question remains, Akeem, can they win MSI? Can they carry the flag like so many LPL teams and win MSI? The answer to that question is probably yes, which is why I put them as my number 2 seed. However, I think there may have come some weaknesses. What if Tarzan is just showing up internationally like he always does? What if, Shanks play badly? What if Flandre is not looking great? What if Hope is just not as... What if Hope just missed skill shots and all kinds of stuff? Especially with the carries of Kaiser and, all these different champions he played. What if the pool kind of drains out? What if they endure a nervous Game 5 situations? Now, they can handle Game 5s in, like, LPL tournaments. But to do this in an international event, that would be really tough. So, but I think Tabe, with the experience that he has coaching this team, he knows he has won an he has won an MSI title. He knows the situation. He knows how to coach his team well. I think the veterancy in these players are great. I think the fact they are the number 1 team in China speaks volumes. And I know these are stereotypes, but it is what it is. I think anyone's legends on the back of having pretty impressive victories over BLG in 2 games are like probably the best team and one of the best teams in the world right now. Not the best team ever, but right now they're like the best Chinese team we have for a shot of MSI glory. I think anyone's legend could win, barring something catastrophe. So I think they're second place. Pretty much satisfied. So CFO Flying Oyster. What do you talk about it? They're the boys. And yes, we're talking about the TV show The Boys, of course. Res Junjia, Hongkyu, Dogo, and Kaiwan. They are they're fine players, but they're not gonna be like the best. They're like a pretty. They're not a great team. Now, I mean, their first stand performance has been incredible, and listen, I ranking them pretty much below the list of some of the other teams may hurt them, and it might get a lot of flank. But listen, remember, this is my list. Okay, this is my list, my opinions. So if you wanted to say that, oh, this team should have been higher, I can understand that. If this team should have been lower, okay, I'm going to be understand that. Remember, this is my list, my opinions. I think this team is the vibesiest team ever. They go on vibes. They don't care the situation or the circumstances. They will play on vibes. I believe Q swap some time with the other substitute, mid laner because one mid laner likes to play certain champions, the other don't. Doggo, who has been a beast ever since way back in the first MSI in 2021. Rest, Junjia, of course, decent player. And I believe this team is a pretty okay-ish team. Now, could they do the similar magic that they did in First Stand? Maybe not. But I believe that based on the way they play, the way they, you know, utilize the composition, hopefully they might have some combos, of course. If the jungle, if you got your Vi, Sejuani games are pretty good enough. I think the MSI is not going to make too much changes except the Twisted Fate, of course, getting buffed, all that kind of stuff, and Aatrox, of course. So those are some champions getting buffed. I'm gonna mention about the MSI patch, of course, but for now, I believe CTBC is a fine team. It's a fine team, but I just don't think they're gonna be like cracking the top 6 or cracking the top 8 based on the rankings. I have them in my 8th place position, ahead of Gami Sports based on their regional performances. I'm not sure they can beat Koi. I think they can beat Koi in given the right circumstances. But I think like based on my list, I just don't see them. I think maybe I can put a bit above Koi. I think I could put above Koi. I'll finish off the list and tell me your opinions. But I think CDBC is not a great. Okay, listen. Thank goodness we got 14 that I can at least talk about in more depth. I can talk about in more depth. Come on, let's see the next one. Like, subscribe, comment, do all your things. Thank you for watching my channel, of course. Ladies and gentlemen, please open your textbooks to chapter 4, verse 26 of the Church and Trophy Biblical's dominance. As we can now see the dominance of Trophy rising up against the Korean's best, he is now taking part in another international dominance as he's about to conquer all that is remaining of him and cement himself as one of the best mid laners in the world right now. That's not how the chapter goes, but ad lib, I think this is probably much where it goes. Now, 2 big weaknesses that happen to Genji. One that is not their fault, it's more like Riot's fault. The other is their fault. I'm not going to go to that yet. Sorry for the long pause, but I'm not going to go to that yet. But let's just talk about the team. Keen is not looking hot. He is not looking hot right now. He is fine. He's been a pretty good top laner for so many years. Ever since post a Freak of Freaks, of course, he has been one of the most consistent top laners ever. He has been fine. But Keen he's okay, I guess. Cannon has shown up, of course. He was instrumental to that turnaround, of course. He and Chovy is all probably the reasons why they're in MSI. That incredible turnaround against Honda Life Esports. He's a pretty fantastic player to look at, to watch at, to be inspired, of course. I think he'll do work. Ruler has not been great, let's be honest. He is not looking like the Ruler of old so many years ago, when he's like the best ever player, of course. And the fact they actually managed to keep all 4 players alive with a budget. I mean, how did they do that? It's impressive, GMing by the coaching staff, and of course, by Kim, of course. I think the bot lane is kind of like the weaker spot, with Ruler and Doro being the newest player, of course, in this team. I think Doro's fine. I think he's not there as better than the Hands or Kara, of course, in the best support ever. But he's growing in time. But this is Doro's first ever real international event, and the pressure and the nerves come to it. And the fact that I'm ranking them as the top team to win MSI. I have Genji winning the whole MSI without any shadow of a doubt. Anything else will be a failure. And it all going to come down to, can Ruler and Duro kind of mesh together? And can Ruler goes back to his brilliant dominant best in around JDG time? We all know Chovy is great. Chovy is already great. He has been by far the best mid laner in probably the world right now. Probably the best mid laner in all of Korea. And he's now reaching his peak, something that, Faker has not. Well, Faker already reached his peak years ago. But now we're seeing Chovy at its peak, and it is fantastic. seeing Chovy being absolute clutch on Zoe in Game 5 of that Hollow Life Esports series was something to behold. And Twisted Fate! He won Game 4 and Game 5 with Twisted Fate. Like, and Zoe. Like, that is mind-boggling for him to have the meta champions that he has, but to also pull his back pocket and go with champions that never sees the light of day in League. It's fascinating to stuff. I think Chovy and I think Keen can take care of this team. And if they do well, the same way they do well in LCK, which, by the way, they're undefeated, by the way, I think Gen G can win. The two main issues I have is, one, Ruler and Doro. I already mentioned that, the bot lane. The second is pretty much Riot base. And I know it's going to be an offensive thing, but whoever make the MSI Road to MSI format should be shot out of a cannon. You cannot tell me that the best team in all of LCK to have to play one match to determine your champion with no finals at all. And that may come back to hurt them. That may come back to hurt them. So here's the kicker, ladies and gentlemen. And all the LCK fans who may or may not watch this channel, but to all the LCK fans, if Gen G does not win MSI, I want you guys, some Korean fans, not all of them, and I do not want violence in them, to stand around the Riot Games room or do the classic Korean trope, pull up a truck around Riot Games studios in Korea and voice a protest. I want to see like, if Gen G does not win MSI, I want to see loads of trucks around in Riot Games Park. Loads of it. And that might work. I mean, it works for T1. It can't work for Gen G if they try. So that's my 2 cents. Riot BS and the bot lane. But other than that, if Chovy and Keen can play like absolute gods, I think Gen G can win the whole thing. 3 teams remaining. Let's do this. Well then, I have a lot of gripe with the format, of course, with the LTA North, but hey, you can't blame the players. You have to, the system was put in there for them to win, and they did. Sadly, is Riot's BS. They have to do what they have to do. And it was not easy, man. That series against Cloud9, as I mentioned, was my series of the split. And it was so close to be a Cloud9 victory. It came down to so many incredible stuff and so many incredible moments. But here they are. FlyQuest, the longest standing roster for more than a year, of course, are into MSI. Now, last year this time, they were upset by GAM. And nobody expected, FlyQuest to even A, win LCS, and B, go 5 games against Gen G. And for them to be, well, they lost. Listen, Team Liquid won LTA North. But consider how Team Liquid were right now, and consider how Team Liquid performed in first 10. Many people thinking FlyQuest are now the best team in the LTA North, and probably the best team in the West. Which, you know what? I'm going to put my hands up and saying, oh my God, that could be true. That could be true. Whippo, you can say all you want. The guy is a character on and off the rift, but the man can play a mean champion pool, especially the Yorick. He can absolutely play that pool to perfection. Inspired the MVP of the LTA North. He's pretty good, pretty good, especially in the jungle. Quad the MVP of the LTA North finals. He was also good. He was prevalent, pretty much. Busio, of course, the support. He's okay. And then Masu, who haven't had a great season, but for him, and his story was so good. For this guy to go from born in Iran, becoming now a Canadian citizen, and for him to play right here, Vancouver is not his hometown, but for a Canadian player to play in Vancouver, in his home city, that is so incredible for Masu to be in MSI. I mean, I would have got Sven, of course, and I'll be more satisfied, or Vulcan, but we can't have favors, Amber. We can't have nice things in these days. So to see Masu in, it's incredible. Now, as for the team, I believe that FlyQuest, with the experience and everybody else, is going to make a deep run. I believe that FlyQuest are probably the best Western team to ever, perform well at MSI. I believe that's true. Unfortunately, they have some weaknesses. We don't know Masu and Busio. This is their well, this is not their first international tournament. This is of course they already been to Worlds, so they already got the experience. But we want to see if Whipple can handle Whipple can handle it. What if his CS is not strong? Quad, can he handle the pressure? Quad, can he handle the pressure? Inspired, we know his experience. Masu, can he pop off? That we haven't seen the Masu pop off moment yet. He's been okay, but he has never been like the guy. Like Inspired is the guy. Whipple is the guy. Quad is the guy. We haven't seen Masu being the guy in one of those moments. And maybe this tournament might do that, but maybe he doesn't have to. But he needs to be the guy in order for them to carry on one of those upset victories against Gen G. Or maybe an upset victory against AL, who knows? So I look at this squad and I'm just like, whew, this is a pretty not bad team. This is a pretty not bad team. Same squad, same coaching squad, same coach with Nuke Dog being coach. Same vibe, same energy. Pretty much the best team in all of North. The fact they're in home, their fact they're in home, they don't have to do anything much. In fact, Los Angeles and Vancouver kind of like not as far, kind of nearish. So practice facilities are perfect for them. And they got the home crowd in there. Well, of course, you got like, a Korean and Poland and Belgium. But, whatever. It's probably a home crowd, of course. The fact they're a home team, the fact they have the veteran seed, the fact they are good. Do I believe they can win MSI? Not even close. But I believe for decently once, we might see LTA North team do absolutely well in an international event. And if that doesn't happen, well, we're all going to be disappointed and cry ourselves. But I believe that FlyQuest are probably the best team. I'm going to put them at 6th. Yeah, FlyQ, 6th best team. Over Koi is my best, top team. I think that's pretty much how it goes. So we're down to 2 picks remaining. We got G2 and we got BLG. Whichever being picked, I will be talking about that, and the non-picker will get to be talked at. So, let's see. BLG versus G2. Which will it be? Which will it be? Which will it be? It's BLG. Okay, BLG. So, don't give me the sound again. BLG have it. So, here's a kicker. If you say that BLG are making the play-ins, so if you say that BLG in the play-ins? How? You would say that, BLG have an off that say like, well, BLG are still the best team. They're really good. Okay, let me just rephrase myself. If you would have told me that BLG are in the play-in stage, I would say like you're a madman. This is a great team. This is Knight, Elk, On, Bin. This is a credible team. Why do you say this? How come they're in play-ins? And then you slowly step yourself back. You read all the information you've been taking in. You watch the videos, and then you realize, yeah, this team looks absolutely flawed. Now, here's a spoiler alert. They and G2 are my top 2 teams, but both of them has the same problem. Well, actually, one team has the same problem. The other is more external issues than internal. First of all, BLG got their coach fired mid-series, of course, during the regular split. Then they have the whole jungler situation that means Beijwang. And yes, Beijwang, you're playing your first ever international event ever. Good luck, my son. The whole world is watching you, including China. Hopefully they'll keep suicide watch on him. Oh, sorry, can't say that. YouTube guidelines, sorry. Probably gonna bleed that thing out. But I'll just say it. It's something. Thirdly, Bin is not looking great. Elk has not looked proud. On has not been great. The only shining knight is, of course, the golden left hand of Knight. And I believe he may be the reason. Now, do I believe that BLG can recapture their form from the last year and make it to a semifinals? Yeah, that's why I have them in my top 4 team. But with everything that has gone on for BLG for the last couple of weeks, and the fact that, the teams that are above them, like the Gen Gs and anyone's legends, could be strong against them, they are ripe for an upset. Like, I know what you're thinking. Akeem, BLG should easily beat Gam. But there's a back of my mind to say that, maybe Gam can win. Maybe Gam could actually beat them. After all, last year they nearly lost to Talon in last year's MSI finals, even with BLG being a stronger team. So what will happen is BLG being weak and facing off against like really hungry GAM team? Hmm, that'll be a really interesting question. So with all the external issues with the whole jungler situation, BLG still have the core four team that make it to second place in MSI and at Worlds. So they got that covered. With everything that happened and with all the situation, I believe that makes BLG my third best team, which means they can win. But consider the top two teams that I have, and consider that all the problems. They could be a third best team if everything goes right, and then, or they could be like a sixth base team if everything goes wrong. Who knows? But I have BLG as third, and that means I put G2 as my second best team. So that's me a fourth best team. So G2 are kind of like the House of Cards. And no, we're not talking about the Kevin Spacey TV show, although it went well until, you know. We're talking about absolute House of Cards. You know, this team is a drafting beauty. Whenever they draft the craziest thing ever. Dylan Falco knows how to cook all that stuff, but maybe he kind of overcooked too much. And not to say that, it's a bad thing. It's like, if, Cavs being craps, and by the way, let's be brutally honest, this has been a horrific, and brutally honest, horrific split from Caps, to be brutally honest. I mean, he's not even the reason why the team is actually doing well. He's like 98% the reason why they lost. Go see the Koi finals, of course. Hans Summer's been the only shining light, of course, in that entire team. Labrov can be fine, but he kind of ints a little bit more. I think Skumon is a pretty good jungler. He's been probably the best jungler. He's probably the best player on G2 but like he and Ansama are like the two best players. And for a rookie to do that, to come into a G2 team with high expectations and become like the best jungler in your team, despite the team not doing well, it's amazing for a rookie to do that. Broken Blade has not been kind as well. And the drafting is pretty much simple. It's a Jenga board. You stack all of them and it's a beautiful tower. It's incredible. But if one little piece falls off, the whole thing falls off, of course. Now, do I believe that G2 are still a good team? That's why I put them at fourth. Yes, I think they're a good team. They made top 4 last year, even though they should have been top 3. But it all comes down to, like, can Caps perform well in international events? We've seen him do it for the last couple of years. But if Caps does not perform well, then you could just say that we might see next year as his last year, but that's not going to happen. But still, you never know. Also, we all know how G2 can draft well, but can they draft well to make the team fit? I mean, fearless draft can work, but we want to see can Skumon handle the pressure of his first MSI tournament. So does Labrov, consider the criticism that he has. Sometimes, of course, maybe warranted or maybe not warranted. But I want to see if Labrov and Skumon can actually do well from a jungle support narrative. Hot Summit can do well. Broken Blade needs to show up. So I want to see. Listen, yes, G2 have been falling off as the kings of LEC. Listen, it was bound to happen. They cannot rule the Empire forever. If that happens, then LEC will be boring as heck. But I want to see how they do in international events. I think there's a video that mentions about this, that G2 are sacrificing LEC greatness now for international success. Well, here you are, G2. Here's the international success we're looking for. This is your first path to do it, and here's the thing, you're facing a pretty easy Furia team. If you cannot beat Furia, man, the entire community will be on fire if that happens. Great for, Furia and LTA fans, but it'll be a nightmare if that happens at G2. It'll be a nightmare. I have G2 as my fourth best team. I think they can make top 4, but we consider that, anything, T1 can show up at any given moment, showcase their best. Genji are still miles ahead of everybody, and anyone that you can cook with Tabe as coach. I think 4th is fine. So here are my MSI rankings. Furia 10th, GAM 9, CTT Flying Oyster 8, Koi 7 FlyQuest 6, T1 5, G2 4, 3 BLG, 2 AL, and 1 Gen G. I believe these are okay rankings. Do I believe any more changes? I believe maybe BLG and G2 should swap top three, but I don't see G2, considering the history against BLG, are not good enough. I think T1 are fine as fifth best team. FlyQuest and Koi okay. CTBC and Gamma okay. I think this ranking is good. I think we can hold this rankings for now. So those are my top 10 rankings. I'll be posting this thing on Edit and Reddit and pretty much like, get flamed. But who cares? This is my rankings and you're going to love it, of course, or hate it. Anyways, thank you for watching this video. It's been a blast. The next episode will be dedicated all to player rankings. So we just had the team rankings. Now it's time to rank the players. See who's great, who's not, and of course, coaching will be involved. It should be fun. Like and subscribe, comment. Make sure you follow my channel for all more MSI and League of Legends videos that I'll do. Until the next time, peace to one and all. And